What's happening, guys? It is Thursday, June 4th, 2020. This morning, we're going to talk a little bit about the world of contradictions. Man, I've tried to stay away from controversial topics, but I'm a little fired up this morning about a couple of things, and we're going to talk about it this morning. Let's get started.
It is ultimately important for you to look at your goals, truly what you want to do in your life, and then look at the people who you spend the most time with in your life and figure out if that lines up.
All right. What's happening? What's happening, everybody? So this is going to be a little bit different this morning than a typical episode of Morning Perspective, but I think it's good for us to talk about some of the things that are going on in the world that are a little bit crazy. And I want to get some things out in the open, and hopefully this can start some conversation about some things out here in the world. You know, like this morning, I woke up to an article that I read about our governor in the state of Pennsylvania, who, I have not been a fan of over the last few months here, in just how things have been handled and the contradictions that guy has put out there. And I'm sure that a lot of you in your states have had similar experiences just with questioning some of the things that are going on in the world and some of the just some of the decisions that are being made. But I woke up to an article, and by the way, let's put this out there right out front. I have no problem with our governor going and supporting a protest for what is going on in the world right now. So the governor, and I believe there was a police chief or captain or something like that also was marching with him. But what I do have an issue with is the fact that, we are being told what we can and can't do and what we have to adhere to in the state of Pennsylvania. But meanwhile, the governor of Pennsylvania can go out and march with people not even adhering to his own social distancing guidelines. I'm all about the guy supporting the cause, and I think that it's important for our government leaders to be a part of these things that are going on in the world and to support that stuff. But I wanted to start with that topic because that is really what got me fired up this morning and got me thinking that, maybe it is time for me to talk about some of these things that are going on in the world. So if you guys have anything that you are thinking of, that you have seen that is in what I call the world of contradictions, throw them in the comments. But let's get started here. I just want to say good morning, people. What's happening? Christian, Jared, Clayton, Judd, Carla, Tammy, Eli, Trisha, Ryan, Andrew, Chris, my man, Mike Rosgoni, what's happening? So, some of the things that I see going on right now in the world, when I think about leadership and I think about, obviously the people that we elect to public office are considered leaders in our country. There are a lot of things, man, that fall into this world of contradictions. And I want to point out some of the things, and it's just regarding the things that are going on in the world right now, from COVID-19 to the things that are happening that are dividing our country and causing a lot of people to feel uneasy and uncertain about things that are going on. And I think it's important for us to talk about these things because I think that everybody, regardless of political party, regardless of race, ethnicity, gay, straight, white, black, whatever it is, it doesn't matter. I think that, what is right is right. And when we see things that are wrong in our world, we have to call those things out. And, when people don't live up to the things that they say, those things absolutely should be called out. And that is for all of us. Nobody is an exception to that. So I want to talk to you guys about a couple of things this morning. And I'm familiar with the state of Pennsylvania. So some of this is going to be Pennsylvania related. However, there's going to be a lot of things that I'm sure are applicable in your own states as well. Yesterday, the Pennsylvania Liquor Control Board came out with their guidelines for, businesses, restaurants specifically, being able to reopen. And so I want to read you some of these things that the PLCB came up with as the standards for bars and or restaurant, I guess bars specifically, people that serve alcohol in their restaurants or that own bars. So here you go. No entertainment of any kind. So this includes using a jukebox unless it's accessed through an app on your phone. No bands or live entertainment, no dancing, no karaoke, trivia or bingo, darts or pool tables, okay? But I want to go then to the other side of this, which since the beginning of all of this happening, since the beginning of all the COVID-19 stuff, they have never shut down the Pennsylvania lottery. And so people who play the lottery every single day, everybody probably knows somebody in their life that plays the lottery. These people have been going into convenience stores and they've been going into the places where they have, touch screen lottery machines and things like that. And they can do that, or they can go to an ATM. People are going into all kinds of different places where they can do all this stuff. But in the world of contradictions, we can't do that in a restaurant that serves any alcohol, or you run the risk of your license being taken away from you, your liquor license being taken away from you. I mean, this is crazy. It is just crazy to me, the things that our government officials are doing. And so the reason I bring this up is I'm not about, taking sides or going one way or the other way. I would just ask you guys that as you watch this show every morning and you think about all the different things that we talk about and getting better in your own world, how do we make the whole world better? How do we make sure that these people that we are putting in these positions to influence our lives through our government, how do we make sure that those people are held accountable? And held accountable to the things that they said they would do and the things that they say that they stand for. Because when I see people who are putting down all of these laws, not adhering to their own rules, that doesn't add up to me. That doesn't seem to be right. And this show is typically one that brings a lot of inspiration to people, not one that I try to get into these types of topics. But man, I read that article and I looked at videos and I looked at some pictures and I'm like, man, this guy is something else, man. When you lock down people and you lock down businesses and you put people in these situations where everybody is just in a bad spot, unemployment is skyrocketing, but yet you don't adhere to your own social distancing regulations. I can't go into the Pennsylvania liquor store down the street without a mask on, but this guy is marching in a group of people. And again, I'm all about you supporting the protests. I'm all about that. I think it's important for government officials to be with the people. But you can't do it against your own regulations. You can't say that somebody can go play the lottery and send people into convenience stores because you claim that people could get sick. That's why we're all locked in and staying at home for several months. But you won't shut down the Pennsylvania lottery that people go and play every single day. Doesn't make any sense. The other thing, casinos will be back open and you can go play slot machines. However, you cannot go play any type of gaming in a bar or a restaurant. No standing at the bar, they say. Everyone needs to be seated with social distance guidelines. No Pennsylvania skill games. Masks must be worn walking into the club or bar when going to the bathroom and leaving the establishment, but you can take them off when you are seated. This stuff is crazy, guys. So I bring this up because I think that it is important during times like this, times of controversy, times of things going on, that you have to start to question, what are these things that people are doing? Why are the things happening that are happening, and how is this happening? When you look at the people who are in the city of Pittsburgh, the young man that caught police vehicles on fire, was he there to support a cause? Or was he supported by someone? Was he paid by a group to be there to incite violence? Because the things that are going on in our world, guys, are important. It is important for people to be heard. It is important for these protests and the things that are happening to be for all the right reasons, and for things to be, for the message that is trying to be sent there to be heard and not blurred. And what I see is a bunch of people in our government that set terrible examples by not adhering to their own rules. Another example is that the head of health in the state of Pennsylvania, who forced sick people back into nursing homes that had COVID-19, that had the virus, removed her own mother out of that nursing home, out of her nursing home, and put her in private care, while hundreds of people in nursing homes, other people's loved ones, were dying because they didn't have the option. So these same people that are forcing people back into nursing homes sick are removing their own family members. The world of contradictions that we live in. And the last one that I remember, just out of the blue, from this whole process, because this is some of the frustration that we've all experienced over the last couple of months, the governor of Illinois, his family was flying to Florida while he had a lockdown of everywhere else. And when asked about that, he said, I believe that our families in the past have been off limits from asking questions. And I don't disagree with that to some extent, that families are a little bit off limits, because, if not, then where do we stop? But I find it very troubling that these people in these types of leadership positions do not follow their own rules. And so I ask you today to start thinking about these things that are going on in the world, and think about it from this standpoint of, man, how are we being manipulated in some way, shape, or form to play by a set of rules that the very people who are making the rules are not following? And that is a very difficult thing to think about. It is a very difficult thing for me to process, and it's uncomfortable for me to talk about. It is not something that I typically try to get into, because I don't want to talk about politics, and I don't want to talk about governors, and I don't want to talk about any of that stuff, because it just doesn't typically lead to anything. And so I'm not trying to sway anybody's opinion one way or the other politically. I'm just simply saying that these people are not adhering to their own rules. And you don't have to believe me. You can go look it up for yourself and read the information and get the facts and make your own decisions based on how these people are behaving. And these are the people who are deciding what you hear about the health of our country, about the health of our state, the state that I live in. The governor and the head of health in our state are the two people that are communicating what is going on for the past few months, and they're not living by their own rules. So I ask you to think about these things, and to think about this with regard to all the things that you hear. When you see things on the news, I just read something from a guy that I'm friends with that's in the construction world. I don't want to say his name just in case he doesn't want to be mentioned, but he put a post out this morning that showed a photograph that I believe it's the New York Post published, and it said something about rednecks protecting a store, and it showed a picture of two white guys, with their guns protecting this store. That news outlet cropped out the other half of the image. There were two African-American men doing the same exact thing as these guys. But they branded that photograph for what reason, guys? Think about this. What is the reason that these people are trying to convince us that those people weren't there? What would be the reason for them to crop it out? I'm not even going to tell you what I think. I'm going to let you come to your own conclusion. What would be the reason that they would crop half of that photo out? Think about this. Because this is what's going on in our world. And I don't really want to have this conversation. I'm uncomfortable having this conversation. But I believe in the good of people. I believe that people are really, really good at heart. I think there's very few bad people in this world. There's very few bad actors. But if you were to look around at what's in your news feed and what's on the TV and what you read in the newspaper, you might get a different opinion. And so I ask you to think about this. Are people just trying to get you to click? Are they trying to make you believe something that may not be as true as what they make it out to be? Are they sensationalizing what they call news? Because you can manipulate a story, man, really easy with a couple words or a couple things left out. A couple important details can change an entire story. So I ask you to just think about that as you're going through this week, because what I try to promote on this show and what I try to help people find is hope and a better life and a better way to look at things, a better perspective. And I feel like these things that are happening in our world, the world of contradiction, as we titled this show this morning, is putting that at risk. It is putting your own perspective, the health of your thoughts, are at risk by believing these things. And so I ask you to just verify. Don't just read something and believe it, but verify and go to people that you trust and have these conversations. You know, the last few days for me, man, I've had some great conversations with people, and I've felt completely different than what I watch or what I'm reading or what I hear from people. When I get to have conversations with people that I know care about me and that I know I care about, because we can talk openly and it's safe and it's, you know, we don't have to worry about this stuff. And I get out of this world of contradictions and into real life. And I would challenge you guys to do the same thing, to really think about the world around you and think about the good that is out there. Because I believe this. I believe, I've said it all week, I believe that the other side of all of the things that are going on in this world right now will be the greatest time that we've ever lived. Because as we figure all this out, because these things, this world of contradictions that we live in, the greatest thing about our country is that we get the power to choose. We get the power to choose. And so I tell you this, you need to use that power. You need to do your research. You need to not do your research from just listening to the same people over and over again, aka a specific news channel or a specific person or a specific media outlet, but to truly do some research. Spend your time and really try to figure out what truth is. Because the things going on in the world, don't just take it for face value, because it is a very dangerous thing to do in today's world. There's a lot of things out there that are trying to change your way of thinking. Be an independent thinker. Verify the things that you list, that you hear, that you think, maybe for a second, they don't seem quite right. There's been a lot of things in the last few months that have changed in my way of thinking, because I have verified a lot. I've done the research. I've looked at these people who we have elected and are the ones feeding us all of the information. And I have started to question things. It's not about taking sides. It's not about being one way or being another. It's about being the best version of yourself, having independent thoughts. and not having to fit into some box that people tell you you need to fit into because you are this way or you are that way or you are, this color or that color. You are gay or straight. You are a man or a woman. It has nothing to do with that. It has to do with being the best version of you and giving this world the best version of yourself that you possibly can. And when you do that, you will find that all people will love you and accept you. Most people, I should say. The world as a whole will accept you and embrace you because you will be coming from a place of truth. And that, my friends, is what it's all about. Finding your own truth, not listening to what other people tell you is the truth. Finding it for yourself. I'm going to leave you with that this morning, guys. I got to get on the road here. I got to travel a couple hours. And, man, I know this was a different version of this show this morning, but it was just on my mind, on my heart that I had to I had to give people this perspective because I think that a lot more people are starting to wake up and are starting to realize the things that are being fed to us and how potentially unhealthy these things are. And I want you guys to just live a full life, to find the best version of yourself and to share that with the world, man. That is what this is all about. That's what life is. And when you leave this earth, you should leave it with your own thoughts and your own truth and the best version of yourself being front and center, not what other people tell you should be. And, that is something that is difficult to live sometimes in this day and age. But it is a necessary thing for us to be able to do all the things that everybody is looking for in this world right now. For us to live truly independent, truly as our forefathers wanted us to, you first have to find your truth, man. You got to be able to speak openly, utilize your First Amendment rights, get out there and tell people what you think. People will accept it, man. But don't just blindly follow these people who are out there creating contradictions in their own lives. Publicly for everybody to see. You go look it up for yourself. You don't have to believe me. I appreciate you guys. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow morning, same place, same time, right here on Morning Perspective. See you guys 7:30 a.m. tomorrow. Love you guys.